Hello and welcome. In this video I will explain how nearby Pwnagotchis can interact with each other. My Pwnagotchi did not find any other Pwnagotchis within the first weeks of his life, so I decided to buy a second one and to research how they communicate. Due to the fact that I have Wi-Fi background, I was really interested in how they talk to each other, so what kind of protocol is used and so on. Let's look into that, but at first let's look at the cute faces. I will zoom into one of the two Pwnagotchis on this picture. And here you see the information you know from your average lonely Pwnagotchi, plus you see the face of the neighboring Pwnagotchi, you see the signal strength. Here we see full 4 bars, so high signal or strong signal. We see the name of the other Pwnagotchi and the number of networks it pwned. So, but how do the Pwnagotchi or this Pwnagotchi know about the other Pwnagotchi? And the idea the developer AppleSocket had was to reuse the concept of a beacon frame, which is used by each and every access point out there in the world to announce its presence to clients. That concept is reused by the Pwnagotchi, and it also sends beacon frames, not to every, or it's sent to everyone, but it's just to use between Pwnagotchis. I captured some packets in Wireshark, and I will show you a typical beacon frame of an access point and a beacon frame from Pwnagotchi. So here we go. At first you can see here Wi-Fi tube, that's my test access point. It's sending a beacon frame approximately every 102 milliseconds. And it always has the same information, which is based on the configuration of the access point, and also the vendor impacts the information here. You see stuff like the name of the SSID, data rate, power save settings, security settings, and various other information. That's what every AP broadcasts. And we also see here a beacon frame sent by the MAC address dead. And this is originating from a Pwnagotchi. It's also, in the Wi-Fi world, it's a beacon frame, but it has completely different information. So there's no data rate, no SSID name, stuff like that. But we have a lot of specific Pwnagotchi specific information, which is put in here by the developer AppleSocket. Let me copy and paste that information to Notepad++ to have a better readability. Okay, what we see in these beacon frames, we see the face of the Pwnagotchi, we see his unique identity, the name, we see various configuration which we will look into later in the default configuration. So like, what is the signal strength he's watching for, what does he associate to other access points, does he advertise itself, is he sending DOS frames and stuff like that. We also see like how many networks were pwned, we see the uptime and stuff like that. So that's in these beacon frames, and they are sent by the Pwnagotchi on all the channels he's cycling through. So when a Pwnagotchi is on his channel, he's doing his main activities, so listening for handshakes, sending DOS frames to then capture some handshakes and stuff like that. But he's also sending these beacons to announce himself to other Pwnagotchis. So let's jump back to Wireshark. What we see here, these beacon frames have a sequence number. You can see this Pwnagotchi sent sequence number 511. Then we were missing some frames in the capture. Maybe they were sent on another channel or were lost in the air, but we see here 519, 520, 521. But here we have another sourced by dead beef, but a sequence number which does not fit into the pattern we saw before. So I already know, that's another Pwnagotchi. So let us copy the information we have here, also to Notepad, to have the better overview. Oh, we crashed Wireshark. Good job. Let me pause this video shortly. Okay, I restarted Wireshark and here we go again. So again, we see one Pwnagotchi, 511, 519, 20, 21. And here's one which it does not fit into that sequence number, so that is another Pwnagotchi. So I try again to copy the packet bytes to my Notepad++. Let's paste it here and then order it. So here we have it, the other Pwnagotchi. We can see at first it has another version 143, the other one has 141, and then we see the same information. So we have the uptime, the pwned networks, the configuration of the device, the name, the unique identity and stuff like that. So what we see here in the Wireshark in the air, we see at least 2 different Pwnagotchis advertising their presence. So yeah, that's some basic information related to the beacon frames. Let's check the default configuration I've mentioned. So every Pwnagotchi has the default configuration, you know, where you configure the name, all the plugins and stuff. And here in the personality section, you have the advertise option. That is where you're telling your Pwnagotchi, shall it send these beacon frames or not? By default, it's true. So if you do not want your Pwnagotchi advertising itself, you can set that to false. What we also have here is a bond encounters factor. This is the number of beacons the Pwnagotchi needs to receive from another Pwnagotchi until they get friends and bond together. So you can configure that. If 2 Pwnagotchis are friends, they can impact each other, their channels they use and also their mood. So if your Pwnagotchi is sad because he's not seeing any new networks, he's quite bored, but then a friend comes up, that might raise his mood level and yeah, it might be happy again. There's also a specific phase. If a Pwnagotchi sees a friend, yeah, that can be configured here in the default, or that's part of the default YML. If you want to change that, you need to do that via the config YML. I have other videos for that, so if you're interested, I will link that video here so you can move there. And one last thing I want to show you is you can also see the historic the Pwnagotchis your Pwnagotchi met if you connect to the Pwnagotchi with SSH and move to the folder root and peers. Here you usually see all the Pwnagotchis your Pwnagotchi met. Now, unfortunately, I connected a Pwnagotchi which does not have any other Pwnagotchis met, but let me scroll here in the history. Earlier with the other Pwnagotchi, the information looked like that. So I had here 2 different Pwnagotchis, so you can see with the unique ID, that's number 1, that's number 2. And I checked the file for one of them. And here you see the information we saw earlier in the Wireshark beacon frames. So you see the configuration, you see the channels it's scanning here. For example, we have channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 11. And in addition to that, you see when they detected each other, when they've seen each other the first time, the last time, and stuff like that. So you can probably, when your Pwnagotchi gets older and you move a lot, and also the community is growing, probably you have a lot of other Pwnagotchis in here. Yeah, and as stated earlier, depending on how often they see each other's beacons, they become friends or not. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share related to that. If your Pwnagotchi has not met any friends yet, I wish you good luck for the future. That, yeah, maybe it meets some other guys in the future. And if you are interested in further Pwnagotchi or Wi-Fi related videos, subscribe to my channel and have a nice day. Bye bye.